Let's go Blues.
Let's go Blues.
Oh man, look at my life. I'm a lot like you were. Oh man, look at my life. I'm a lot like you were.
Hawaii Blues fan, we're bleeding blue with you. Let's go Blues! Let's go Blues! Let's go Blues!
Your St. Louis Blues fan note report. I can't figure out what I want to say. The depression is set in. The I would need to be 100%. Like, yes, we can do it. And I'm like, maybe we can do it. You know, I don't know. It is what it is. The hockey gods have spoken, and they've said, F you. That's right. That's exactly what they said. F you. Oh my goodness. You know, McDavid, if you want to be real, if you really want me to come on the show, show me your real name. Don't stand behind somebody else's. Come on, man. Show, you know, don't. I've had enough of people with fake accounts the last few days. So Jason Hirsch. Well, thank you, Jason. Thank you. Maybe we'll change it. Oh, I'm doing a pregame show, 1 hour pregame show. I don't know how much, enthusiasm I'm going to have. I don't know if I'm going to get a guest or any help, but fuck it. I'm here. You know what? And I guess the sensors are off. I'm not sure who this is. Who we got here today? Let's see if I can figure out who's joining us. Who are you? Who are you today? Oh, this is Thomas Maynor and Alex Kennedy. Thomas and Alex, do me a favor. I know you're on the Hawaii Blues fan clan. If you go up in that top where it says it's do or die, Husso to be or not to be, you might see something where it kind of says see more. You might see where it says I'm going live using StreamYard. Before leaving a comment, grant StreamYard permission. If you click on that little link there, it will allow me to see your name, man. Robert says, F it, ride or die, man. Go Blues till the end. I'm with you, buddy. Blues won't go down easily. I hope not. Oh, I didn't even notice I had a guest. Didn't even know my co-host was here. He just said, fuck it, I'm going to show up.
Yep, fuck it. I'm here.
How did your DoorDash day go?
I didn't. I actually went to McDonald's for a few hours today with it was just easier that way because the app wasn't working.
Oh, you switch streams better now. Yeah, for some reason in the Blues fan clan one, you've got to click on that. But Thomas, thank you, man. It works either way, right? Kilo's here. Ash is badass. We know that.
Thanks,
we absolutely know that. No more fake account today. We will not show fake accounts. Right? If you can't stand behind your comments, don't stand behind at all. No fake accounts. Now, I know this isn't a fake account. I know this because they haven't clicked on the right thing. Kids are going nuts. Got to run. Be right back. I think we're all aware of that. No. It's actually starting to look pretty nice. You know?
No,
Getting a little curl
it's
to it in
not.
the back.
Nope.
Nope. Okay.
Do you want me to
Ash,
lie to
here
you?
it
I
goes.
mean,
Well, again, Nathan's with Slapshot. I'm not. I still don't. I still think that we're making a mistake, right? And here's my Robert's got his drink loaded. Here's my issue, right? I don't think even if Husso plays his best game, you don't win this game. And here it is. He plays his best game. The Blues do something behind him that gives in a goal, gives in a weak goal, gives in a soft goal or something like that. We've got to be perfect. And then not only that, here's Vince. Vince shows up when it's, he didn't show up when we won, but he'll make sure he shows up when we're losing. And when we get cheated out of it, I'm still, the way the NHL has played this has been bad. And then did you see that freaking article today from USA Today, the commentary?
no, I didn't.
The commentary was that Bushnevich and Perron should be suspended for a very long time. Right? Yeah, Russell Wilson
Looks like I froze, or did I freeze?
can't even get itself typed up. I froze.
Okay.
I got the little internet symbol, so I got it. We got somebody from inside the rink, it looks like. Let's give him a second. I don't know if he's going to be video. It might just be audio. This looks like Shaggy. Is this Shaggy with me? Shraggy.
Oh, yeah. This is Shraggy with you.
Okay, you're not going to do video?
I'm putting on my video right now.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
There we go.
hi.
Hey. Sorry about
here
that.
I
I
am.
didn't know. I'm
One
learning,
second.
man.
Do you go by Slapshot Jones?
I mean, either way, I'm just
Well-
really Ashley.
My uncle nicknamed me Slapshot Steve. So
Ooh, 2 slap shots in here.
all
Yeah,
right.
there we go. Is that like Scuba Steve?
Not really. Not really. Not really. No. Oh,
Well,
man.
hey, welcome to the show. I know from his background that he's with Inside the Rink.
Yes, right.
Something that I'm new with, and they've accepted me, even though I may not have the views that everybody has, and differently.
That's fine.
And look, I'm still not happy with all the Kadri stuff. I think that we've taken a guy that has been vilified and made him very likable, and to me, he's still not likable. But that's just how I feel about it.
But that's how sports players are. You're gonna have situations like this. Like, I don't know if you know what's going on in the baseball world with Donaldson and Tim Anderson. There's a racial slur going on over there or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard a little bit about it. I haven't followed it too heavily.
So I follow baseball heavily, and I'm a big Yankee fan. And one of the things they have to realize is that in sports, sometimes players are trying to get into the other player's head, and they're using whatever they can. And sometimes it could be something that's a little bit sensitive, and someone else could take it the wrong way. And players have to, and I think the fans and the media and people outside have to understand that this is something that you sort of have to, you're not really on that level to understand what's going on in the actual game. And sometimes maybe they got into a big fight. Maybe he called him, "Oh, yo, you're a terrible player. You have no clue how to shoot the puck. You have no clue how to pass it," or something like that. And he wants to get back at him and calls him something else. And maybe the fans got too involved or something like that. And I think this whole Kadri situation is something that has to be right away turned down, whatever they can do, because it's ruining the playoffs. That's not what NHL playoffs are about. Seriously.
Exactly.
It's not what it should be. It's about the Rangers surprising everyone. That's what it's about. No.
No.
So we get another
I'm not a
Rangers
Ranger
fan.
bandwagon, dude. I picked them to go to the finals. I picked them to lose in the finals, but I picked them to go to the finals. I saw it yesterday. I think they got something special brewing. I think that there's a little bit of a mystique about them. A little bit of like, this is our time. A little bit of a Blues 19.
Right.
We're the ones nobody's talking about, so let's go do it. Right? That's why they feel like to me. But they've got to do it in 6. They can't keep going to 7 and 7s. Usually teams that go 7 and 7 don't make it to the next round.
I will not disagree with that, but I will tell you this much: if there's a team I believe that in Game 7 could do it, I still believe they can do it. The Penguins team had most of the momentum, and the Rangers took it back slowly but surely. So
no. I believe they can win in Game 7. My issue would be the next round.
Yeah, no, the next round I don't even want to think about, because at this point, here's my expectations were make the second round, be competitive, and that's it. And now they're showing me we're not just competitive; we have a chance to win this. And then whatever goes on in the next round will be like another add-on to my excitement. And more than that, I think that you're a Blues fan, and right now you have a whole problem with your goalie, and the Rangers don't exactly have that problem, so I can't relate to that situation. Yeah. But on the other hand,
as soon as some idiot falls on him and he hurts his knee, you'll have that.
Exactly. Yep. The one thing you have to realize is many times when it comes to these games, it falls on the goalie. In the last couple games, the 5, 6, and 7 games are many times on the goalie's head to keep your team in the game. And what Binnington did, first of all, by the way, I just got to tell you, when I saw him doing that Game 1, I was going crazy. He saw the puck so well. Unless you really, like, when they actually scored on him, I was shocked. Like, I couldn't believe that. But sometimes it falls on the goalie, and that's something that you have to figure out. We have the best goalie in hockey, right? Honestly, they do have like at least the top 2 goalie in hockey. I would say it's the best. And in the last 3 games, that's what it falls on. So that's why I'm not scared of a Game 7, but a Game 5. I think the next Game 5 is the most key. I think you would think as a Blues fan, tonight's game especially.
Well, it's do or die. It's win or go home.
That's right. Tonight's game is the thing. I'm actually thinking that it's sometimes good for a team to be in a situation like this, because they tend that when times are rough, they find themselves. They find the thing because they need to win this. You know what I mean? And if they win this game and they could try to come back, I think everyone would love to see a competitive series.
I want to see him be competitive too. I always thought this would go 6, and with Binnington in, if this was a Game 5 as a win or go home, I think the situation would have been completely reversed.
Right.
I think the situation's completely reversed. And here's the thing for Blues fans: this isn't the first time this has happened.
Right.
This is the second time we've had a star goalie who was playing out of his mind go out because some idiot decided I'm going to fall on him and screw his knee up. Right. You might be, and I'm making an assumption here, you might be a little young for this, but you have I think it was 96 playoffs where, and I forget the name of the player, fell on Grant Fuhr.
Kyprios. It was Nick Kyprios.
But yeah, that was bad. That was very bad.
Say again, Ash?
It was Nick Kyprios.
Oh, Kyprios, yeah.
I always relate back to when the Rangers played the Canadians, and they used to knock out Price, and Kreider did that twice, and they ended up winning that round, and those rounds were such torture. You know what I mean? The Canadians-Rangers series was absolutely amazing. They used to knock out Price, which I always say it's on the goalie. I always think that these last games and really key games are on the goalie. I know the players need to score and they need to, defend him and protect him and do as much as they can. But if the goalie's not doing well, I don't care how well your team is playing. You're just going to lose, because other teams, especially like a team that's really good, Hurricanes, an Avalanche team, Oilers team, they're going to take advantage of your goalie. They're going to. If they see he has a weakness, let's say he's not seeing well on his stick side or his blocker side.
Short side. He doesn't get over. He doesn't come out far enough, short side. And that's where they've taken advantage of him. One of the other things. Sorry. Go ahead, Ash.
I didn't say anything.
Oh, okay. One of the other things that my concern is, first of all, he has, and it hadn't shown up this season, regular season, but it has shown up in the playoffs. He has this penchant to give up goals on early shots, either in the game or in a period. And he gave up 3 goals on 3 shots in the last one, and that just, it tore the season apart.
Right. And that I find this very common, because I can actually relate to that, because as a Ranger fan, we normally give up the first goal of the game. That's like the normal thing by us. We're always down 1-0. And recently it's not been that way, but this is how we live. Many times a goalie, my host actually, I'm the co-host, but I mean, my host is actually a goalie. And he explained to me that even him as a game, many times you need those, you don't see the shots right away. At the beginning of a game, many times you have to get used to the pace of what's going on. Every game could be a different pace. Every game could be a different feel. Maybe it's more physical. Maybe there's more shots coming on you. Maybe the other team is just shooting away. And many times you don't see the puck right away. I don't care if the guy prepares. I don't care if you're the top goalie in the world. Many times the first couple shots can be the hardest ones and the ones that they need to stop the most. Because once they get to feel the flow of the game, they'll do well. That's where you see the difference between a good goalie and an elite goalie.
Yeah. I just hope that, well, first of all, for me, I would have put Charlie Lindgren in. All right. And I understand that there's a lot of people going, oh, he's an AHL goalie at best. Da, 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 da. That's the same thing we said about Husso. It's the same thing we said about Bennington when Bennington came up. That's all he is. And he showed us something different. Now in December, and I know he hasn't started since December, when we needed him, he went 5-0, started 4 and went 5-0. So he saved one of Husso's losses.
He played for 5 minutes and had 3 shots against that barely counts as a win.
No, he played more than that.
No, he played for 5 minutes and had 3 shots against.
Okay.
That was the only team that he faced that was anything. Everything else was the Stars or the Canadiens or Detroit.
Okay, and more than that, excuse me, there's a situation now with the Hurricanes also. Should they start Anderson if he's healthy?
Yeah.
We were discussing this by us on our stream last night, and we said, no, you don't take a cold goalie and put him into a series in which you need to win games. You can't just play around with, when coaches play around with their lines during a game, they have to be so careful because you don't want to ruin a chemistry. You don't want to have a mess up. You have a 7-game series, and if you have a must-win game, you don't put in a goalie that has not been in the series. You put in a goalie that even has been on the ice to see the play. I don't care if I'm watching on TV right here. Yeah, I'm no better. Okay, I can't go in the game and tell what the pace of play is. I wouldn't put in a goalie that comes into a series and says, and we say to him, oh, so basically because our number one goalie is out, we're just going to put you in, try to figure out what's going on. We need to win this game, by the way. If you don't win this game, we're out.
I like Slapshot Steve here. I like him a lot.
No, I understand what you're saying. I just think for me, I
see where you're coming from.
4 games in a row.
Right.
Husso has a 4.76 goals against average. 4 games in a row. That's not going to win you any hockey games. And he has shown 0 signs of not being that Husso.
I'm with you, Bob Morton. I'm with you, hardcore man.
Well, let me give you an idea here, okay? If you put in a guy like that and you tell him, look, let's put Lindgren in, all right, and tell him like this, we're putting you on a leash, okay? If you don't look right away good out there, if you don't right away show us what you got, you're pulled. And I could hear you. I could hear why you would think like, let's put in someone and maybe he gets hot. And for all this guy Lindgren finds finds his whatever you want to call it in him, right? Yeah. Maybe he'll find it in him. But let me ask you a question. Would you risk that to be down right away, let's say 1 or 2-0, to have to climb back in a game that you have to win? Or would you rather put in a goalie who might give up 1 goal, but you have more confidence that you're not going to be out of that game right away?
It's the problem with Husso is it's not that he gives up 1, he gives up 2 or he gives up 3.
Okay, my argument is the same for whenever Bennington was in his slump here. Husso is the one that got us to the playoffs. I didn't want to give up on Bennington. We had to let him work through it, and I was mad that we didn't. Now Husso's had a 4-game slump, but we still shouldn't give up on him. It is a slump. That's all it is. All goaltenders go through it, and it's a terrible timing, but he can get out of it. If we show we have faith in him and we play in front of him tonight, he could surprise us all. He could be the game 1 in Minnesota Husso. I mean, you just have to have faith, and the team has faith in him, and that's why they're starting him. You're just an angry guy today.
She knows me well.
So let me ask you this. I know I'm coming on and I'm not in this show, but let me ask you a question.
Go for it. That's what it's about.
I watch pretty much as many hockey games as I can. And one of the reasons why is I love the action. So I tend to like see something in players where I go like, what are you doing? And one thing I noticed about in general with some of these players, I'll say players like Robert Thomas, who maybe have to take a control of this team. When you have a situation against a really good team, you need one person at least to say, let me get you that goal that you weren't supposed to get. And this has been mostly you're not sure who's getting the goals now. You don't have someone, I feel like, in charge. Robert Thomas was amazing, absolutely amazing. And him and O'Reilly are absolutely ridiculous during the regular season. And you need guys like that to step up in these moments.
O'Reilly has, and so is Perron. And
Perron has done more than he has to do. Perron is not meant to be that number one, right? Perron is not meant to be that number one. Now, the question I have for you is how much do you what do you feel about the fact that I feel like your coach switches up the lines left and right?
No, he doesn't. Actually, this is a new thing for him.
In-game switching.
Well, yeah, but this is a new thing for him. In the past, like last season, he rode, and I'm gonna, who was the guy that we all hated last year? Zach Sanford. He rode Sanford no matter how many mistakes he made, no matter how many of them ended up in the back of the net. He rode Sanford like a rented mule. And would not change it up, would not put any speed in. This season, in December, he lost so many guys to COVID, and we didn't get – St. Louis is the only team in the league that did not have a game that was postponed because of their players in COVID. Yet in December, we were using our third and fourth string goalies as our backups, our first starter and backup, right? Everyone was getting hurt. So – this is the first season that he's really done that. And I don't mind the line changes. One of the things that I don't know if you can see, the private chat there. There's a little comment for you. I'll say that comment in a second, but I gotta finish this. This is the first season where he's done that a little bit. And one of the problems that we have is that 5-on-5, they're just that much faster than us, right? They're just that much faster than us, and we haven't put any speed out there with them. The only speed that we've had that's done anything against them has been Kyrou.
Right.
Kyrou has used some of that speed. Thomas has been neutralized. Thomas, Bushnevich to a point, and Tereshchenko have been neutralized. Now, there's been a lot. So just so you know, I have a love affair with Tereshchenko, right? I have signed
total man crush craziness over there.
4 or 5 jerseys. I have stuff. I have conversations with him. I have a man crush on Tereshchenko. Be that as it may, I think that defensively he's played very well this series. Offensively, he hasn't. But I think that's the game plan has kept them off they're not getting down in this. They did get some cycles going in the last game. They really did get some cycles going in the last game.
Yeah.
However, they didn't get any scores they didn't get anything except on the power play. They need to score 5-on-5.
5-on-5, one of the main things about 5-on-5 that is always constant key is getting into the offensive zone. And against a team like the Avalanche, that can be sometimes very hard. And that's right away getting into I say this with the Rangers. When they get into the offensive zone and set up, they're scary. And I could say the same thing for the Blues. When they get themselves set up with some nice plays and keep an extended time in the offensive zone, and you put some pressure, I think someone just mentioned that. Someone put pressure in front of the goalie, and you make the goalie have to keep working. That's how you score goals. Even if you don't score, the next time you come down, right, he's all over the place. He doesn't know where you're going. You want to get in the goalie's mind. You want to move him around to where you have the better shot than he has the better save, right? You want to get the higher chance shot off. Mm-hmm. And if you realize that you guys are winning a faceoff percentage, let's say in the last game you guys won the faceoff percentage, That means you're having more chances with the puck than them. You got to take advantage of that every single time.
I agree with you, but for some reason in the last game, the Blues went into like this defensive shell. I mean, they came out of the first with a 1-0 lead, but they only took 3 shots. I think they got 12 in the second, and then they only took 5 in the third. You can't win a hockey game against the Avs that way.
Especially in the third period. You can't put 5 up in the third. I mean,
exactly.
You put 5 up in the first and they're all great chances. Okay, I could hear like maybe you had the best chances in the world and the goalie made 5 great saves. But you put 5 up in a third where, by the way, many times you have an extra man on, or you have a power play, let's say in the third. You got to let those things fly. That's why sometimes you got to make it rain.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm with you. They need to get the shots on net. One of the things one of the issues now is, and you saw this in the third, the physicality of the game kind of went away, and the physicality not being physical hurt St. Louis, and the physicality went away because of the 2 penalties that were called on St. Louis in the second, when one should have been called on Colorado. It should not have been a 5-on-3. It should have been a 5-on-4. Right? Kadri put an and the part of the play that gets missed in all of this is down in the corner. Kadri put his elbow in Buchnevich's ear. Right? Buchnevich, when they're up ice, they're still jawing with each other. Buchnevich pushes at him. Kadri pushes back, and that's when Perron comes in. Well, I get Perron's fine. I get all of that. I really do. But not giving Kadri a penalty for what was happening was wrong.
Well, that's something that I actually feel is a bias by the refs when they see who the player is. Because we always say this by Crosby, how when the refs see that it was Crosby, they go, oh, that's not a penalty or something like that. And especially by the Penguins. But you could say the same thing when it comes to Kadri because of all the clouds going on around him. That sometimes the refs don't want to start up and they see that it's not good or something like that. They just stop play. You know what I mean? And and it goes right, and they won't call the penalty. In general, in these playoffs, I've seen terrible reffing in general. So I feel you. And last night's game, the Rangers did not have many problems. And I was like, okay, wow. It was like the first good reffing game in a long time. But this whole reffing situation with Kadri, I mean, you could find that maybe they'll make up for something tonight. And you got to hope that they do, you know?
Here's my issue. Right, you've got Vince. Vince is a Colorado fan. He always has, and he's gonna go with this now. Oh my God, Kadri's so great. Kadri's the greatest player that ever, and he should be a Conn Smythe, and he should get the heart, and he should get everything. Oh, and them St. Louis fans were so mean to him. The guy is a tool. And yes, what was said shouldn't have been said. I get it, but that shit happens all the time.
Right.
And it's not like he had something. It's not like somebody went after him with a knife, and that's what they make it sound like.
Right, and more than that, like I mentioned before, this is how players are getting in each other's head to try to win a playoff series that which they may be the underdog with, right? And they're trying to get the edge, and every edge that they can get, they're trying. And for all you know, the guy made the comment, felt stupid afterwards even maybe, you know, and it shouldn't have been said, but it can't be that now you say that Kadri, first of all, Kadri's a great player. But when you know a guy's like, I'm not going to tell you Ryan Reeves isn't dirty sometimes. Okay, I'm going to tell you that sometimes
Ryan Reeves is dirty as can be. We know that from personal experience.
Well, exactly. And Kadri is not that clean. But don't tell me. But don't. I feel like you can't put the comments into the way the guy plays. The comments is something in its own, like you're saying, and you have to really deal with the player as a player. Don't look at his number or his name. Look at him as a hockey player, and he just made a bad play.
Yep. Hi, Wendy. How you doing, buddy?
Doing all right. How are you guys?
Sorry about. I mean, we've got a good conversation going. So sorry about not acknowledging. We just wanted to get you in the room. Yeah. Are you going to be pro blue today, or are you going to be anti blue today?
I'm still going for the Avalanche in this series. So
I mean, he will never not be for the opposite team. He's always going to go against the Blues.
Yeah, I know.
Get that in your head.
He would help lift up my depression today.
I have a feeling if it was ever the Blues versus the Preds and he would have a hard time picking, he would still go with the Preds over the Blues.
I wouldn't even go for anyone.
The thing is he's got a hatred for the Avalanche too.
He would have that T-shirt on.
I don't have a real hatred for the Avalanche. The rivalry between the Hawks and Avalanche isn't really a rivalry. It's either the Avalanche beats the crap out of the Hawks, Or the Hawks beat the crap out of the Avalanche. That's what that is. They don't have much of a rivalry.
Yeah.
They don't have history.
Yeah, I'm with you. Well, and even with the Blues and the Avalanche, there's the playoff history is weak.
Well, now
Right?
there is. Now there's a nice history, and if they meet next year, oof.
Yeah, it's going to be scary if they meet again.
The only player that I root against, I think you guys all know, so I won't even mention the name.
No, go ahead.
It was mentioned in the comments, but yeah. It happens to be we're facing more Rangers than just him. So I think that he's the least of my worries. You know what I mean? I also feel like you guys no one won that trade. I feel like no one won that trade.
No, I think that that was an evened up trade. I think that was an even up trade.
It's a very even up trade, and it helped both teams. So
yeah, and you know what? You can't fault Blaze for getting hurt.
Right, and we're both in the second round. You know what I mean?
Right? Yeah. Blaze, you weren't going to pay Buchnevich. That's all there was to it.
Oh,
I didn't want to give up Blaze. I was not happy giving up Blaze.
I love Blaze.
Blaze,
right?
One of the things that we liked about him in specific is he was cheaper than Buchnevich, but had the same upside. You know, and he wasn't a negative on the ice. And Sammy Blais was going to really help that second or first line, depending on where he was going to fit in, especially because I think they felt like Blais was going to be good with Panarin. And in general, I think that you're going to have to really judge this based on when he plays, and he hasn't really played much. So look at it next year. But if the Rangers make a deep run, if they go deeper than what they are now, let's say they make the cup, right? Yeah. You can't tell me that the fact they traded Buchnevich was a bad idea. Because look what they're doing now. And also they have their two number one picks playing fantastic. Very interesting enough. I noticed that Barbashev has not done much. What's going on there?
Again, it's the Avalanche have played like I said. So this is why I guess this is where my heartache with this whole series comes from, right? In that first game, the Avalanche played the Blues perfectly. I don't think you could have played the Blues any better than what the Avalanche played them, and they damn near lost that game. St. Louis is as good as they are, but Bennington is was playing on a level so much higher than anybody else that by having Bennington get hurt, or Bennington getting hurt, however you want to see it, right? It brought this series to where it flip-flopped it. I think if Bennington doesn't get hurt, we're not talking about the Blues facing elimination today. We're talking about Avalanche facing elimination today.
Or an even series.
Right? Now, I actually think that the Blues would have won the last two games because the Game 4 was all about Kadri. If that doesn't happen, Game 4 is not all about Kadri. The Bennington not getting hurt, the way he was playing that night, I think the Blues score more. I really do think that the loss of Bennington, unfortunately, and this is what I talk about, the difference between the top team in the league and the bottom team in the league is minuscule. And sometimes you can take one player off a team and put him on another team, and the team's flip-flop. Well, that's what's happened here.
Right.
In my eyes.
And especially on a team like this who really was they have pretty good depth. And when you switch a depth player, we're talking about where you switch a player in the bottom six, you think it won't make an effect. But you cannot even imagine the effect it could have on a team. I look at teams that made some moves during, like, I even watched like a Toffoli move, even though it's a top six move, that's sort of on the Flames. That's like a bottom six move in a sense. But you see teams making these small moves to make themselves have depth. People have to realize that your bottom six, they have to be competitive and they have to have an effect on the ice. We always talk about the Islanders, identity line and what they did, even though that identity, I think they have an identity theft at that point right now. But they used to have this identity line. And what was the accomplishment of that was that their bottom lines were something that when they came on the ice, you worried. Because even if they didn't score, they are physical, they bothered, they put a pressure on you. It wasn't like they were sitting back and relaxing. They are some of your best defensive players were on your bottom six. Your bottom six can make a difference. And I'll tell you, that might be the difference in tonight's game. That might be a big difference in how your bottom six or even your bottom nine. I mean, when it's not your first line,
Well, the thing is we don't have one. We don't have a first line. We have a 1A, a 1B, a 1C.
That's why I said your bottom three in a sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because you can take almost anybody on the top 3 lines, swap them around, and get just an effective line
all day.
And we've seen that. We've seen that all season long.
And a lot of your guys can play multiple positions.
Mm-hmm.
So
right, and Marianne makes a great point. Benny was not just a goaltender; he could clear the puck. He was a third defenseman back there. Right. You have taken that element out of our game, and my problem with this, and I'm still going to say this, my problem is you watch that again, and you first of all you have to take his reputation into effect. It matters, plain and simple. He at one point turns his head, he's looking at Bennington, and he shifts his weight. You can see it. You can see his shift's hip, and then he's going down right on Bennington. Maybe he didn't have the original intent, but once he got down there and saw it, he did exactly what Kriprios did, and I'm gonna fall on the goalie. I'm gonna put myself in his head. His intent may not have been to hurt him, but it was to put his image in his head, and they have the other issue is that they have history. Those two have history. All of that stuff matters. All of it matters. And that's why I think the NHL screwed this up. The NHL should have, at the bare minimum, fine Kadri just to find him. Because if you find him, at least you're saying we're going to take a little bit of control here. But you went and told the league, oh no, what Kadri did is absolutely fine. So what happens in the next game? Smith has the same thing happen to him. Right? The league messed this up.
100%.
No, Vince, it was not a clean hit. It was not a clean hit. It was not a clean play. By rules, it was not a clean play.
Actually, on a technicality, it is a clean play, but you can't see intent in that. And there was intent.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you,
he took advantage of a situation that he could make appear clean.
Well, the biggest problem is when you have a dirty hit, we're talking about a guy elbows a guy in the head straight up on purpose. Last night, Trouba had a huge hit. And if you notice, the guy tripped. There was no intent there. You could tell there was no intent because the guy tripped and he hit him in the head because that's where his body was angling at. But with those type of plays on those type of hits where there's tons of those in the league all the time. There has to be a point where they decide, if this and this happens, whether we can tell if there's intent or not, or do like a research. We're not going to ask the guy, did you have intent? He doesn't want to get suspended. He's not telling you, oh yeah, sure, I did not have, I had intent straight up. I want to knock the guy out. No one's going to say that. No one's saying that to the NHL. You have to make a rule. You have to make it set, and maybe it has to be where if a guy makes contact with the head, that it becomes an automatic 1-game suspension if blank, blank, and blank. You have to make the right,
Well, here's the one thing. Here's the one issue with the rules that I have. If you call a heavier penalty first, you can review it and take it down. If you call the lighter penalty, you can't review it and take it up. Well, it needs to go both ways.
Well, more than that, I'll tell you the problem, though. If you call a light penalty, and they decide on the replay that it's a bigger penalty, right? First of all, is that considered a challenge, or are you saying they automatic review it? Because if it's a challenge, how many times is a coach going to actually challenge that to lose his challenge?
Well, actually, you can't challenge a penalty. You can't challenge a play like that.
So if that's true, then how are they reviewing it?
It's the referees. It's the referees. The referees have the right. Here's the thing. Here's the way the rule's written, and I read it. Okay, the referees can call. By the way, the referee, if they call, let's say they see a hit and they call the 5-minute major, right? Or better yet, they call the 4-minute penalty, right? Double minor.
Right.
If they call the 4-minute minor or the 5-minute major, they have a right to review it. They can choose to review it to ensure that it was the right, with the high stick, that it was the right stick, that it was a defender stick that hit him and not, his own weapon or his, friendly fire.
1 second. Sorry for interrupting, but you're saying sort of like in the NFL, they had this passing interference, and they decided that we're going to have a review on if you could challenge the passing interference. Excuse me, I'm sorry to say, but if you're going to review every single challenge, you're going to have left and right situations of just the hockey game taking.
No, what I'm saying is anytime that you call a penalty, let's say that you call if they'd have called goaltender interference originally, they could have gone back and reviewed the play to see whether or not it was goaltender interference. Mm-hmm. Right? That is a play that they can go back and review. They absolutely can, even whether a goal scored or not. If they call goaltender interference, they can go back and review it on their own. They didn't call it, so there's no review. There's got to be a point where some things get reviewed, and that play should have been reviewed. He leaves his feet. And you know what? I know everybody's tired of hearing it, but it's so important to this series. It absolutely changed this series.
Right. And you know what? The thing... Okay, so thinking about it this way, you want to have a review on penalties. Here's how I would do it.
I want to have a review on the right penalties.
On the right penalties. So here's how I would do it if I'm you. I would have it on certain calls, meaning we're not having, is it a vicious high stick? Is it a vicious this? On only certain plays. We're talking about whether not an instigating, we'll talk about maybe it's a roughing, right? Yeah. If you have a roughing and a player gets up slowly, maybe that should be the review. Because in that way,
and that's fine. And I don't have an issue with that. I always thought that there needs to be. I thought there needs to be one more ref that's up in the press box, watching the TV. That if he sees something like that, he can buzz down, stop play, and say, "Hey, we need to look at this."
Guy, the issue is the NHL is not going to want to go to it because they don't want the game going past 4 hours. Because that means you'll get review after review after review on every single play.
No, you don't have to get that. You can do it. There's a way to do it to where you're not getting that. There are things that need to be. You need the eye in the sky. You need the eye in the sky.
So let me step in over here and explain. I think what in a sense this could be like. If you want to know if it would happen, what it could be like. It could be more like where there's a guy up there. You don't want a call like that. You don't want every coach thinks every hit's vicious. You ever seen some of these coaches where the guy has the most clean hit? Hey, what are you doing? Hey, that was a penalty. Hey, kick him out. They start screaming. They call over the guy. What was that? I remember when the Rangers scored on the Penguins, and the coach called over the guy to discuss about the helmet thing and whatever it is, and calling them off. Look, a hockey game's a hockey game, and the only way this could happen is like you're saying, having someone else, an outside person, looking at a hit. But maybe the end game of the effect of a hit is how hockey has been for years. And we have lived with dirty hits not being called. We have lived with that. And that player gets a suspension and he won't do it again. In the playoffs, though, is where your problem is, because if you lose a game by that, that's why you're upset. You're not upset about the regular season. No. You lose a game because of that hit. You're coming back to me and saying, look, we lost because of the hit. We'll move on. And that player will get suspended and he'll move on. So you can't say that. Your problem is the playoffs.
And see this stand with Nas stuff. That's oh man, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but this stand with Nas, I'm sorry. That's making me sick to my stomach.
Oh my gosh. Huh? I don't know what they're doing down there.
We've done the impossible. St. Louis fans have done the impossible. They made Nas likable. They made Nazem Kadri likable.
Well, the reason why they're doing that is sort of because of what happened. But in the real world, you can't really make. I'm very against, and I'm saying this. I know it's a live stream, so I don't really like to connect politics to sports. Yeah. I don't like that to ever be connected. When I was a kid, sports was this fun thing where I didn't have to get involved with these things. And when these things did happen, it didn't come out. It came out years later that something happened there. They would take care of it okay, look, you guys did something wrong. You go apologize. You go do this. And they moved on. It wasn't always because now we have media. Everyone finds out about this. And you can't just have one of these things going on. And that has to happen where all these stories, unless, it's an open story where everyone saw it, it can't be known. You have to take care of it under the covers because it's the playoffs. NHL playoffs for years have been the best playoffs. And you could tell me that the NFL and this and that, excuse me, no one could tell me that there's the only one sport in which has the most common of 3-1 comebacks, and that is hockey. Because any team gets hot, Any team finds the right way to play, the next game they're right back at it. And the intensity.
Well, let's talk about that then. How does St. Louis win tonight's game? What does St. Louis need to do? And I'll start with Wendy. What does St. Louis need to do tonight to win tonight's game?
They have to play smart. That's pretty much point blank. They can't focus on one player in Nazem Kadri, which you could tell they focus more on Nazem Kadri in game 4. They need to just play a smart game. If they want to win and have a chance to come back in the series, you have to play smart. You can't take stupid penalties like what Perron did a couple of nights ago. You can't play dumb. You have to play smart. And that's pretty much what St. Louis has to do.
Keeping it simple. They just got to keep it simple.
Okay. Steve, what do you think that the Blues need to do tonight?
Pressure. As much pressure as you could get. You make the Avalanche be in their defensive zone as long as you can. You make them have to work. Last night, I one of the things that I actually like, I feel like I know hockey, and then I watch a game and go, shoots, there's actually a really smarter way to play this game even more. And I go like, when you're in the offensive zone and the players have to play defense takes more energy sometimes than offense. On offense, you're thinking, I got to get this goal. Defense, you're like, shoots, I can't let up a goal. So the whole time you're really working hard because they'll pass the puck around and make you work really hard. If the Blues tonight could put a nice amount of pressure, especially in that first period, get yourself a good lead because the Avalanche could score anytime. But if you get them always have less stamina than you, make them more tired than you, get yourself to be the more energetic team with the momentum. And get that. And one of the ways you do that is to put that pressure on the goalie. Constant pressure. We're talking about you're on the top of the key, you're open, take that shot. Take that shot. Don't try to get the better shot sometimes because in these type of games, you get that deflection. And especially with some of the way some of the players on the Blues are playing, you're going to get some of those nice shots off. Okay. And the Avalanche, as good as they are, I can't consider Darcy Kemper to be one of these top goalies. He's good, but he's not a goalie that's going to shut you out every game. And that means that you could take advantage of him. Put the pressure on him right away.
I agree. Okay, before I go to Ashley, I want to say a big thank you to Nick Halsey. Patrick Michael Blazer, Danny Johnson, Jose Figueres, Marianne Holm, Dan Art, John Hefner, Brandon White, Matt Park, Jason Hertz, and Jeff Horseman for putting those thumbs in the air to let you know that we care, that you care, and that you like the show. We greatly appreciate that. Okay, Ashley, on you. And if you do it on YouTube or Twitter, we appreciate that too. I just can't see your names, but thank you so much.
I mean, he pretty much nailed it. I mean, all I have is KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. I mean, you've got to, go back to basics and worry about getting it into the offensive zone, keeping it there, cycling the puck, and not worrying about being fancy, because sometimes I feel like they get a little too fancy when they get possession, and that's when the Avalanche take it and ram it down our throats. So we just gotta keep it easy. Okay,
guys, YouTube, it does not show me who likes on YouTube. I don't get to see it. I get to see, and Ashley can tell you, I have a little dashboard that shows me Facebook likes. I don't get to see YouTube likes. And even on YouTube, if you go there, I can't click on that and say, oh, these are the people that like it. You can't do that.
No, it just
I don't know who likes it. I appreciate you if you do. I absolutely do. I just can't see it.
The only way you could see the like on YouTube is after a stream, and if you go to the YouTube studio, that's how you can see who liked videos and stuff.
Even then I can't. I haven't been able to see it.
Really?
Yeah.
I might have to show you.
Okay. So that's, so you're not chopped liver. I love all you guys. Look at the live chat names. I appreciate Tommy. I appreciate JT Ramirez, Chris Lambert, and I really do. Guido, all of you guys. The ones. So I'm trying, man. Don't get mad at me, Tommy. For me, I think the game is going to be a little bit different. I think that you need. I get what everybody's saying. I think what the Blues need to do tonight is they need to get into the heads of the Avalanche, and you get into the heads by scoring early and not just one goal, get that 2-goal lead. Because if you get that 2-goal lead, you might be able to change how the Avs play. And that's what it comes down to. You have to change how the Avs play. And they only change how they play when they're down by 2. Right? And we saw that. We saw this in game 2. When they got down by 2, they changed how they play. When they scored that 1, again, they went and changed how they played, and that switch up opened up some ice for the Blues. You've got to get them to change their game. And the only way you're going to do that is score 2 or more ahead of and get ahead of them. You got to play with the lead, and you've got to take it to the net. Not get 1 goal on 3 shots, which is great, but you got to take those 3 shots 9 times in a period, not 1 time. So that's where I'm at, bud.
Yeah. You know what? This game has to be something that we like to call the 60-minute hockey game. You can't let off that pressure. There's 60 minutes, play all 60. You don't sleep. You can't sleep, especially in a must-win. You get this game, I feel like the next game becomes easier in a sense. Because the problem is we in the last 2 must-win games we've had against the Avalanche, we've been blown out. Right.
In 2017, last game of the season, all we need to do is get it to overtime. 1 point. And we're in the playoffs, and they're not. Well, they blew us out. We lost Tarasenko in that game. They blew us out last season, game 4, to not be shut out, not to be swept. They blew us out. So, it all comes down to, and I've said that I was looking at the numbers last night in yesterday's show. Let me see if I can bring them up again just to make sure. For the Blues, when they are game 5s, they are 25-27 all time. On the road, they are 9-16. That does not bode very well. When they are trailing 3-1, they are 2-12, 1-6 on the home, 1-6 on the road. The Avalanche have fared much better in game 5s and in the situation. Game 5s, they are 25-15. At home, they are 15-10. When they lead 3-1, they're 11-2. The 2 games that they have lost, the only bright spot that I found in all of this is the 2 games that they've lost have been at home. So that's the numbers, and the numbers are what they are. Can we beat it? I hope so.
Right. Wow.
I gotta love Ashley.
Oh man.
Her youngest daughter has autism, is very on the low end of the spectrum. So she does what she wants to do when she wants to do it. So
she turned off the screen?
Yeah, she should be back, maybe.
Yeah, she'll be fine. Those kids are always the best. Those kids are
Let's see. So let me get back, see where I'm at on the comments. Stop the second wave. I agree with that, Danny. Mike Mariano says 3 things: shoot the puck, get rebounds, and stop with the stupid turnovers that puts Husso in a bad spot.
The second thing that he says, his second thing of get rebounds. I mean, as much as you want to get those rebounds, number 1 has to happen more. You're not getting those rebounds without shooting that puck.
Yep. I'm with you. But it's putting bodies in front of the net. We haven't done that very well. And then when the bodies are in front of the net, they're not in the right spots.
That's right.
Right.
You're getting outmanned. That's the word. You're getting outmanned in that box.
Yep. Well, here's a good question. Does Husso step up to the plate tonight? Yes or no? Windy.
I go yes. But
he would have to. It's an elimination game.
Well, it's not. That's not the question. The question is, does he?
By how I answered it, yes. I was saying it in a way he has to step up. If he doesn't, you guys are gone.
Yeah, well, I know that. And for me, the first 5 shots of each period is going to be the telling thing, because this is what his MO is.
Well, that's why you have to keep that puck in offensive zone. Don't make Husso have to keep like being on. You don't want exactly what you're doing to the other team. You don't want happening to you.
Yeah.
And you have to prevent that. And Husso's gonna step up. I'm telling you, because you think like you have an excellent coach. You have a team with some pretty good leaders. And Husso also knows this is his chance. You know what I mean? He's the number 1 right now. He doesn't want to happen to be.
Husso has been watching dollars go away from him. Yeah, that's right. Right? He's a UFA, unrestricted free. Yeah, UFA. There were up until now a lot of teams that were ready to pay him starter money. There may not be as many teams willing to pay him that starter money now.
Well, he did have at one point in the year, I think, one of the top save percentages. And when I looked at that, I actually had him on my fantasy team, and And one of the things that I always liked about him is he had a consistency. And when you have a consistency, every team looks at you and goes, I want that.
Yeah.
And there's some teams out there next year that are going to, I'm talking about good teams. I'm talking about really good teams looking for goalies next year. I'm talking about like the Oilers. Okay. How would Husso like to be signed by an Oilers team?
Well, actually, I think that would be a mistake for him to sign with the Oilers.
No, there would be a mistake for him. I mean, in general, like you'll have a player who would love to be on a good team to make that effect, and not just be on any team who might just say, "Oh, well, we're a rebuilding team. Husso's a pretty good goalie. Oh, let's bring him in," and they'll pay him the money. But again, Husso wants to be a number one. He really does, and he has to play well.
Danny, I'll give you a "Let's Go Blues," my friend. See if I can find the right thing, right button here. Here we go.
Let's go Blues! Let's go Blues! Let's go Blues!
All right. Philly would be a bad place for him to sign. I don't see him signing in Philly.
With Philly needs a lot of stuff, and it's not going to be them going after a goalie first.
They're going to go low end. They're going to go low end goalie though.
Yeah.
They're going to maybe pick up. They're going to maybe pick. I'm saying, I could see them pick up actually Georgiev. If
they still have Hart, and Hart's not a bad goalie. Hart has, when you don't they didn't support Hart all year.
They don't have Hart. Never mind.
Carter.
I can't pull that out now. I know I'm a homer. I have a feeling the Hawks actually go after Husso.
I could see it. I don't think that's a good spot for him.
Right, but don't we have that young guy on the Blackhawks that was at the end of the season doing pretty well?
No. Hell no. Kevin Lankinen, he's probably heading back to Europe. That's how bad he was.
Oh, man.
Well, I'll tell you one thing that I did notice, and I have noticed, and I talked about this a little bit earlier. You look at some of the big trades that were made at the trade deadline.
Rangers won it.
Right? Say again?
Nothing. I just said the Rangers won it.
Well, you look at, who did the Rangers pick up at the trade deadline?
Andrew Kopp, Tyler Mott.
Yeah.
Vetrano. Everyone who scored last night, pretty much.
Yeah.
You look at Florida. They made a big deadline pickup. They made a top six pickup. They're gone. You look at Minnesota. They picked up a starting goalie. They're gone. Normally picking up big guys, picking up top six guys, top two guys, starting goalies doesn't work out. And again, this season it doesn't work out.
I mean, Fleury, in a sense, when he was picked up by the Wild, I felt right away that it wasn't a this year move almost. As much as it was a move for this year to try to, make a run, I don't think they felt they were a good enough team. But next year, coming into the season, I mean, unless Fleury's is Fleury a free agent next year?
He's a free agent. He's
a free agent. They're not going to be able to pay him.
They're not going to be able to pay him. So I don't know what they're doing. Unless it was just to unless they want to bring in someone for this playoffs. But
I have a feeling Fleury ends up back with the Penguins to finish it off next year.
Vegas.
Because the only beer you can get in that arena is Coors Light. That's why.
Yeah. Why wouldn't he go back to Vegas?
Because Vegas broke so many
rules.
Not rules per se. They did with the Donatov situation.
Yeah.
But they just broke unwritten rules on how they handled trading Fleury. They traded him for nothing, basically. The Hawks managed trading away virtually a bag of pucks to trade Fleury, and we end up getting a second round pick for him, because the Hawks traded away a prospect that was never going to make the NHL to Vegas.
Yeah.
Vegas bought him out, and he's back in Europe. Fleury comes to the Hawks. Hawks traded him for a second round pick. I think
the Hawks just did that as a favor.
The Hawks talked with Fleury. They said, if you don't want to get traded, you don't have to get moved. Kyle Davidson, the new GM, followed up with him saying, here's what we can do. If you want to stay in Chicago with your family for the rest of the year, we aren't going to make the playoffs. you can do that. We won't trade you. If you want to go have one last run with a team to try and win a cup, we can do it. Tell us the teams you want to go to. And Minnesota was part of the teams that he would have wanted a chance to go to. Toronto was on that list, and there was a trade in place to be moved to Toronto. But the trade broke because there was a leak, and Kyle Dubas of the Maple Leafs was pissed and said Davidson broke some rules on a leak trade. It wasn't leaking it. It was the fact that it got out to insiders that there was a trade in place to go to Toronto. And then Dubas got ticked off about it.
So let's go ahead and answer Danny's question. Who scores the first goal tonight? Nick?
I did it last time I answered it, and I got the right one.
Got it dead on.
How about you guys go first?
Okay, Steve, who scores first goal tonight?
It's hard. I'm gonna go Robert Thomas.
I'm in that same zone as you. I already know who Ashley's going to say, so I'm going to take her before Ashley's going to say DP. There, Perron.
All right.
She's hoping Perron gets a Hattie. I'm going with Tarasenko tonight. I think Tarasenko scores first. I think he's been known in some of these games where it's dead. He shows up, right? I've seen it before. I've seen it happen in Game 6 against the Sharks in 16. He scored 2 goals at the end when it was already a done deal. I think he scored in Game 4. I think he scored 1 or 2 goals last season. So he does show up, unfortunately, when it's too late. Chris Shockey says Walker. Jake is with Perron. Michael Edwards is with O'Reilly. And yes, I have a man crush on Tarasenko, and I probably should be wearing one of my 5 Tarasenko jerseys. I think I have one of them hanging up somewhere. No, yeah, I do. Yep.
I think.
No, that's my Hawaii Blues fan one. So no, I don't have a Tarasenko one hanging up.
Yeah, nope. I think I got my pick.
Say again?
I think I got my pick.
Okay, go.
Since I know how he is in Game 5s, I'm going with the former Blackhawk and Avalanche, Brandon Saad.
That's a good pick. That's a good pick.
I know how he plays in Game 5s if the team's down. Every time the Hawks were in Game 5s and they were down, it seemed like Saad would get on the score sheet, and that's why I'm picking Sauter here.
That's not a bad pick. That really isn't. We got about 10 minutes left before the game comes on. What are your expectations for the first period, Wendy?
Well, if St. Louis wants a chance to fight and get it to Game 6, they're going to have to come out into this first period, play smart, get the first goal, and pepper Kemper. And I can see this game go back and forth again going into this first period, but St. Louis is going to have to step up their play.
I absolutely, I'm with you. Okay, Steve, what do you got, buddy?
I think you'll see a very fast first period. I think the Blues are going to try to come out as quick as possible, try to get themselves the lead as quick as possible as well, and try to get the pressure on us immediately. Try to get the players right away with the right focus and get this game going, because as soon as they could get themselves hot in this game, the better it'll be. If they could right away get themselves to a comfortable lead and not have to, work as hard if they can against such a good team, it's going to really help them go for the future of this series as well. Keep themselves, on fire. And maybe they just need a huge momentum switch right here. So they're going to try to come out really fast in that first period. I'm more worried about the second and third. That's the periods I'm more worried about.
Mm-hmm.
So on TNT, they're trying to show this play, but there's one of the things that they're doing, and it's a big point, is where the goalie is, right? They have the goalie at the far right, and he's actually was at the far left. And that changes the perspective of how he goes into him. because if the goalie's on the opposite side, now you have all that open net. He puts his stick down like he's going for the puck, but he also has his head looking directly at Bennington. And as soon as, he misses the puck, his weight shifts. And that's all I'm going to say now. For the Blues, it's basically take control tonight. Take control, discipline. Play a disciplined game. Discipline game. If you do that, you have your special teams have outplayed Colorado in every aspect. Every aspect, you've outplayed them. Do it tonight. Let them make the penalties. Let them make the mistakes, right? If you do that, then you have a chance at winning this game. If you don't, game's over, right? I know, John. I seen it too. Once he starts leaning towards Bennington, he puts his whole body. He comes off the ice. His skates absolutely come off the ice before he hits Bennington. He launches at Bennington. I seen that, but Danny John, it's do or die time. It's simply what it is. Steve, were you going to be able to come back during the intermissions?
I should be able to.
Okay. If you can, tag me or follow me on YouTube or on not YouTube on Twitter. I will send it directly to you. I'll send it directly to you instead of the whole group there.
Yeah.
Mindy, you still with us?
Yeah, I can.
Right. Okay, guys, we're that close. I'm going to go ahead and let you guys enjoy the TNT bullshit because that is what it is. Guys, have a great game. We'll see you at the first intermission. Hopefully, it's a Blues win.
It's better than ESPN.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. We don't
ESPN's garbage.
Oh man.
Say again.
ESPN's garbage.
Yeah. No,
it's so much better than ESPN.
TNT's not much better though. As Leia says,
let's go Blues. Let's go Blues.
And
To all you Blues fans, we're bleeding blue with you. Let's go Blues. Let's go Blues. Let's go Blues.
This is Guy, the Y Blues fan, for Steve from the New York Pangers podcast and Nick from Windy City Hockey saying aloha mahalo, and I'll see you at the intermission show. Aloha.
Oh, yeah.